What's going on, everybody? Usually on the Fight Lounge, I usually give predictions on fights or any big breaking news. Now, this episode will be a little bit different. This episode, I will be talking about the Tony Ferguson case that he has. His wife has a restraining order against him, and when this broke out, people were like, they was confused because they said, "Well, Tony doesn't have a violent past," you know. But man, after reading this report, I knew Tony Ferguson was weird, but man, after seeing this report, man, he's straight up crazy. Just a couple of days ago, when asked about any update on Tony Ferguson, when we see him fight, Dana White said, Tony is dealing with some personal stuff right now. And when we heard it, we was like, huh, personal stuff? Dana White lies a lot, so we didn't trust it at first. But now, we see that Dana White was telling the truth. He is dealing with some personal issues. Just recently, I will leave a link in the description to the full report. I got this from MMA Junkie. I believe BJPen.com also broke the story, but I'm reading from MMA Junkie. It seems like he just snapped, man. It seems like he took his son into the house, and as soon as he got his son to the house, he instantly changed the locks on the door so his wife couldn't get in. And his wife had to tell the police, nah, I'm not fearful of my son since he's inside locked in the house. She was probably just why? I can't get in now. And so since there was no threat, whatever, police was there to depart Tony, yo, let your wife in. And then another report, they said he just went crazy. He didn't sleep for 3 straight days. He started tearing the whole house apart. He told people that there was a chip in his leg. He told somebody else there was somebody living inside of the walls of his house. And when I heard that, I was like, yo, does this dude take medication? Because if he don't, he needs to take it ASAP. And if he isn't prescribed, then he needs some help ASAP, man. Because like the wife said, he's not dangerous. He's not fearful. But if you get a dude who's goes nuts and snap and tear apart the house and says somebody living in our walls and somebody put a chip in his leg, we all know what happens when a crazy person snaps, and we all believe when he finally do snaps that something violent will happen. If you're a wrestling fan, and again, I'm not trying to compare the two, but if you're a wrestling fan like me, I automatically thought of Chris Benoit, because a little bit about Chris Benoit. If some of you know, some of you don't know, he's a former wrestler. He was at one point WWE champion. And I think a couple months before his death, he was paranoid. He thought people was following him, and he would go different routes home. So he wouldn't go the same route home just in case people was following him. So basically, he was paranoid. And again, I'm not saying Tony Ferguson is going to do what Benoit did, but it just instantly made me think oh snap, because Benoit had case of CTE. They said his brain, I believe he was in his mid-30s. I'm not sure. I'll look it up afterwards. But he was, when he killed himself, people don't know he killed his wife, killed his son, and he killed himself. And when they took his brain, they said his brain was brain of an 80-year-old man, but that's because of CTE and brain damage. And with Tony Ferguson and all MMA UFC fighters, you best believe they have CTE and brain damage as well. If you have fought over, hell, you probably have had over 5 years of fighting, over 5 but Ferguson's been fighting for a long time, so he has double-digit fights, maybe even 20 fights total. And so instantly, when I saw this, him being super paranoid, I was like, oh no, man, maybe they think about Benoit. Another thing about the Tony Ferguson situation that's, it's just a fascinating read. It's just he's too paranoid or too scared to leave his house. He stayed up for 3 days straight. His wife can't get him to leave the house. his coach, from his gym can't get him to leave the house. So he hasn't left for the hospital. He hasn't left for the doctor. So he's just, literally a madman in his own house right now. And it's just kind of, and this dude is legit champion. I know he's just an interim champion, but the dude's still a champion. And it's crazy to see a elite level UFC and MMA fighter, act like this, because again, if he was like 50, 55, I can understand it because of all the years of punishment, but this is way too young. We all knew Tony Ferguson was, weird. He did some weird stuff, but this is crazy. It's actually pretty scary. And before I end this, this is gonna be a pretty short episode, but I think it's, an important episode. What do you guys think about this Tony Ferguson case? Do you think this should be talked about more? Because I do. Again, I hate to say what this instantly made me think of Chris Benoit. Like this dude, he's harmless right now. Like his wife and even Tony Ferguson's father has both said, hey, this guy's out of control. For her to repeatedly take the kids away from Tony Ferguson, she doesn't feel like the kids are safe around him. And that's all you need to know about this whole situation, man. Like if the mother says, yeah, you're not safe around your own father, that's all you need to know. So hopefully he gets some help. He needs some, wish for the best, but you prepare for the worst. That's how I am with Tony Ferguson, man. I hope he gets some real help. I hope he gives MMA a break, because if he goes to, I don't think it's rehab, because I don't think he's taking drugs, because he'll been popped by now, because you saw of course they test for steroids, but they test for all drugs. And if not them, it's another one. Because with the whole John Jones thing, like I believe one group tests for steroids, and another group tests for recreation drugs. I believe so, like weed, coke, and all this stuff, and pills. So I think Ferguson isn't taking any pills. So clearly, I don't think he needs rehab, but I think he needs some actual help. And so I'm hoping, and they said the first report was from January or February of last year, 2018. So he's been dealing with this for a while now. This ain't like he's been acting strange for the last 3 months. Now he's been acting strange for a year now, or a year and a half almost. So I hope he gets some help. I hope he leaves MMA, because forget the sport, man. Like that dude is a father, he's a husband, and he's a son. So I think family's more important than MMA, man. I don't want him to do like 1 or 2 months of help and then rush back and fight Habib or something. Like, no, you don't need that kind of stress. You don't need that kind of pressure. You don't need, you don't need all that. His children probably scared of him, with all this. They know dad ain't acting right. They know dad's acting super crazy, especially if they saw him tearing up the house. So I don't know. I think this should be heavily talked about, and talked about the right way. Not talked about, well, how soon do you think he's gonna come out to the cage? It doesn't matter. This dude, health, his life is in jeopardy. I believe so. But what do you guys think below? Comment below what you think of this whole situation. And that would do it for today's episode. Like I said, this is the Tony Ferguson situation episode. I'm hoping him the best. I'm hoping he gets help. Whatever he has been dealing with has been going on for a year. And that's when the first police report came out. So we don't even know how long he's been acting violent or acting irrational. We don't know how long. Like I say, he's we all know he's a weird guy, but being weird and acting crazy is two completely different things. So yeah, if you listen to this on YouTube, subscribe to us. I try to upload daily content on our YouTube channel. If you're into UFC, boxing, MMA, or any kind of fight related content, subscribe to us on YouTube, and of course listen to us on iTunes and Spotify, and where all podcasts are available. And that will do for this episode. The next time I'll probably be back on here is my prediction for UFC 236. The first time ever that the UFC is having two main event fights being for the interim belts, which is crazy. I might do a video in between about how interim belts has caused so much BS and hell for the UFC, man. It's like everybody gets a interim belt, but that's for another episode. So yeah, that will do it for today's episode, and that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.